afternoon, everybody. I am Silvia Slavicek from ITL Group. I am the head of Accelium Skills Development Center in Hungary. Dear Ehud, thank you very much for your time. And I know that you are very busy as you have to follow already more than 30 countries. So I appreciate your time. First of all, I would like to ask you to introduce yourself, concentrating where does your passion for games come from?
Okay, thanks for having me here. My name is Ehud Shachar, the CEO and founder of Accelium. I've been involved in the field of game-based learning and game-based assessment for the last 25 years. And I'm handling games from a very young age, since I'm a chess player with the rank of international master. I'm based in Israel, near Tel Aviv. I'm 52 years old. I'm vegan, and I have 3 kids. That's me. And of course, the passion from chess, when you start learning chess and playing chess from the age of 5, then naturally you are grown with it, and chess is a big part of your life, even if you're not a professional, even if you just enjoy the game. It's something that stays with you. It's a part of your childhood, and it's a part of who you are.
Yeah, I saw only the film about the chess, so I can imagine that you grow up something like that, no? In front of the chess table or something.
Well, in life is less dramatic than in the Queens Gambit. For those of us who are not orphans and doesn't have such a great taste of clothes, we're not exactly like in the series, but yes, chess is a whole world, a fascinating world, and we are growing up with it, and we are living, and it's around us all the time.
And why chess? Why did you choose chess as a tool to develop the skills?
Well, when you start as a chess trainer, then chess is the best tool, you know, because you grow up from the other side. You grow up as a kid who is learning about life, who is learning about skills from chess. So you go through the process from the learner point of view. And then it's much easier to become a teacher using the same tool that you were learning with. So chess was very easy for me as an educational tool in the beginning. But when you need to handle really a class, you need to really handle a whole learning process. You found out that chess is is a great tool, but is not sufficient. It cannot be the only tool, because if you want to capture the engagement of a whole class, you need to find other games as well. You need to find games that are suitable for different skills. And chess represents a very, very unique way of playing and learning. So if you want to broaden, make the process bigger, you need to have more games involved and to use more games as educational tools and not just chess.
Mm-hmm. That's why you are using yes, a lot of kind of games already. And why kids first?
I started as a teacher, so I was when I studied in the university, I studied education, among other things, and I was a teacher in schools. And as a young teacher, and also a chess player, I really enjoyed using chess inside the classes. Okay. So the combination of the game and education was there very naturally, and that's why I started from the field of education, and it took many years till we made the change and started to go also for the corporate side, let's say, and not just stay inside the schools.
Mm-hmm. Let's say 20 years ago, you saw already the future. As now, game-based learning, it's very start to be popular. And I would like to ask you, why a game-based approach for Accelium?
Well, again, one of the things I say a lot about Accelium is that the methodology was built, let's say, from the bottom up, meaning from the classes, from really the need, and then went to the theories and research, etc. So when you are a teacher in the class and you're starting to use games in order to demonstrate principles, to talk about things, to develop skills, you see what a powerful tool they are, the games. How easy is it to capture the motivation of the learner? You have a class of 30 kids, 40 kids, and if you will just talk with them about problem solving, decision making, planning, they will not pay attention, to just talking and talking. But once you put out from your bag some games, used to be physical games, today it's digital games, and first of all, they have the experience of playing, and they want to do better. They want to win. They want to solve the puzzle. They want to hear all of your tips, all of your tricks, the strategies. They want to go home and play with their family and win. And all of a sudden, it's becoming very important for them. And on that wave of motivation and engagement, you can put everything. You can teach history, you can teach math, you can teach science, you can teach whatever you like, you can give values, you can talk about relationships, you can do everything when you have the learner with you and you have him engaged and he wants to listen. And I think that's the most important key to using a game as an educational tool. It's about what can you do with it. And that's one of the, I would say, weaknesses of traditional chess programs, that they are more focused on the game than being focused on the tool and what you want to accomplish as a teacher. It's more important for me to discuss fair play, to discuss how to handle a loss in chess, how to handle a win, then really teach some opening or, stay with this kind of a level of the strategy. So it's an amazing tool and it's a flexible tool. And some teachers know very well how to use and are using it a lot. And some teachers needs to learn and needs to adopt and improve and work with it in order to master this kind of a tool.
Everything started in the education, and as we was talking about competition, then we have to speak about the Olympics as well, as Accelium is organizing already from years to kids this Olympics. What did you see during these years already, because you have experience in it, on the kids? What have they received thanks to Accelium Olympics and thanks to Accelium methodology?
Yeah, so I think that the value of the methodology is, of course, been proven in many universities around the world, many researchers that shows how kids that adopt the methodology improve different subjects of school and improve the language of thinking, etc., etc. But I have to say that when I look at the Olympics, I see something extra. And I want to share with you one moment that happened in one of the Olympics that can emphasize that in a very, very nice way. We had one of the events, the big events. Those are, in the end, in the final, hundreds of kids that made it to the final, and there was the Olympics ended and there was a ceremony of giving medals. And one of the students, his name was called, to come and take one of the medals. He won 3rd place. And I was standing next to the principal of the school, and she was in shock. She never knew that this kid has those abilities, that he can win among those thousands of kids, he can win a medal. And the kid was, let's say, a very special kid with a special need program in the school. And he was shocked. He went there to get the medal. He was disoriented. We need to go with him to get the medal. He was so shocked that he managed to do that. And you should see the family and the friends crying and unbelievably looking at a kid that has the potential, but didn't have the framework, didn't have the ability to take this potential and really do something with it in such a way. So what I see in the Olympics is a chance for every kid to, as I said, take out the master that is within him and use his potential and get achievements, and all of a sudden take the confidence, and all of this event do something to those kids. And if a parent and a teacher is there to promote that in a very positive way, that is something you don't forget. You never forget this experience growing up. This leaves a very positive mark. And I think that that's something that we can look for the Olympics, to create this kind of a framework for the kids to unlock their potential and come to an amazing achievement. And with the right encouragement, the right approach from teachers and parents, this is something that will they gain for life. Okay, so unlike the learning in the classes, which is of course a very educational process, the Olympics brings something else to the table, which I think is extremely valuable for the kids.
I saw them. Yes, they are very, very nice. So all kids around making competition and fair competition. Many times I saw, for example, in the case of adults as well during the trainings that, and I teach as well, that the enemy is not an enemy but a teacher, and it's another kind of way to see to the other person with whom we are playing. Can you tell a bit us about the story of Accelium? We know that everything started from education, but later you enter in the, let's say, you started to give services to the HR department as well, create trainings, assessment tests, the talent tests. So how have you planned this development?
Well, looking back at the history, it's always nice that you can say that everything was planned, right? That you kind of made all the master moves in order to accomplish something. But in reality, in most times, it's just a chaos. Nothing is really planned. It was a pure coincidence. We got, a couple of years ago, we got a phone call from somebody we knew that was working in Amdocs, one of the biggest software companies in Israel. And they were looking for some methodology to improve the skills of the employees. They have 4,000 people around the world, and they were looking for a tool which will be digital, which will be effective, and which will be fun, because to develop employees, managers around the world is not trivial. And they asked for us for a solution, and I was in the meeting, and I said, to the lady, look, we are experts in education, and this is corporate. Those are employees. I mean, this is skill development with employees, and we are very good with students. So she looked at me and she said, for me, those are students. Why don't you try? And I said, you're right. I mean, why not? Well, what's the big difference? So that's how we started actually to say, you know, we can tailor make what we're doing into the corporate world. So that was one big step in what the company is doing. And the other one is very important, and that has to do with the digital development. Because back then when we started 25 years ago, there was no digital. Of course, there was board games. When you are a teacher and you're working with even, let's say, puzzle games or strategy games, and you look like how a student is thinking, and you ask him, please describe to me what is in your mind. I mean, okay, you are looking at the position, but what's happening there? Please share with me. And the student is talking, and you have the ability as a teacher to start evaluating, What's happening? Does he have a very coherent plan in his head? Can he really hold a structure of moves up there? Can he really explain to himself why he's doing the moves, etc., etc.? So you're getting the sense of what kind of a thinker the student is. But only when we had a digital platform, we were able really to assess it in a more organized way. So we took a lot of the knowledge we had from working in the classes, for working with people, and we managed to create an algorithm that can take all the moves that the players are doing and give them some meaning. And that's how really we developed the assessment abilities, the assessment test. So it's only when we really started to go digital, we managed to take all of this world, all of this knowledge that we had, and really produce it to a test and a report. That's mainly how it happened.
And incredible, because in this as well, your unconsciousness, or how to say, know what will come. That you started everything to create in a digital world, let's say, and now it's very useful. So, can you tell us what skills you think that people who are learning with Accelium are developing the most, and if you see difference in case of kids and adults?
Well, the second question is very easy because I don't see a lot of differences. I think that a lot of the time we say that kids manage to connect with the game easier, to learn rules easier, because they don't have the barriers that adults have. Adults are more reserved, and you need to find the right way how to approach them. And sometimes you have I can sit somewhere and talk with a lady that does finance in a company, and I tell her, let's play a game. And she said, no, I'm not that good in games. And I say, you handle finance in a company. You look like a very logical person. Why can't you handle a game? And there is a barrier there that comes from childhood or comes from interest of life, and it's fine. But that's what's happened. You need to cross sometimes some barrier. With kids, usually, this doesn't exist. But when it comes to really absorbing later the game and playing, and then also doing transference, I think you can find both kids and adults do things in a very, very nice way, the same. The first question you ask about what's the main thing that is really happening there in the process, what is the main benefit? We are working on many kind of skills. So we are improving many abilities. Some of them is very hardcore, like analytical ability and planning and strategic thinking. And some of them is more emotional, like persistence, or some more soft abilities that we are working on. But I would say that the main thing that you can improve really fast has to do with a concept which is called the fog. You see, there is usually for most of us, when we are trying to think, we have a kind of a fog inside our mind. A lot of people are reporting that you know, the answer is not so clear to us. If I ask you now to explain to me your thoughts about planning, about the game, you will start, but then things will be very elusive in your mind, and you will not be able to hold the whole structure of thinking. This is very common to all of us. If we are not Judith Polgar, then, yeah. So many people are like that it's not so clear for them the structure of their thoughts. And when you start playing games, that is the number one thing that improves really fast. Your ability to hold in your mind a much clearer structure of thoughts, using questions, using some kind of visual aids in your mind, and then you are much more fluent when I will ask you, please explain to me what does your opponent wants to do, or what you want to do, or how you are going to win this game, you are able to tell me 1, 2, 3 in a much more structured way. The fog disappears. So the ability to think clearer and express yourself better and build some kind of a logical structure in your mind can be improved really well when you are starting to learn the methodology and play more games. I think that what is very hard for people, I think the hardest thing is actually strategy. The ability to look above and see the picture of, which is much, much bigger, seeing a bigger picture, a bigger system, and understand it, it's extremely difficult and very difficult also to teach, because as human beings, we are all the time going to the very concrete things we can handle. And people you are usually asking them, who do you think stands better? And they immediately say, I'm going to play this move. Okay, so that's exactly that. Your ability to analyze a position versus the move, which is just the final outcome of this process. That is very difficult for people, but that is what we are trying to do and work on.
The first product for adults was the training, and later came the assessment and the talent test as well for the recruitment procedure. And many times we are asked how we can believe that, for example, in the assessment the results are valid. I know that did you work on it with many universities? Can you tell us more about it, please?
Yeah, well, the way you do validation for assessment, you have two basic approach. We did both of them. One is that you validate it with the opinion of people who are working with the candidate. So, for example, let's say that I want to evaluate your set of skills. So I would probably interview the people who are working with you, your managers, your peers, etc., etc. I will build a profile according to what they described as what it is to work with you. I will do the test and I will check how far was I from the general opinion that the people gave. That's one way of looking at it. And the second one is that I will give you what we call standardized test, regular test in the industry, that those tests can be digital or not. You will go through those tests, you will get your mark, and we will compare between your analytical ability in game-based assessment and your analytical ability in traditional tests. And if the correlation is extremely strong, then the test is validated. And that's what we did on a very big scale. In many industries, and we are feeling very confident that the test really give a very, very good image of the person abilities, skills, and mindset. We need to remember that when you do a test, actually, when you do game-based assessment, every game you play, which has, for example, like 30 moves, those are like 30 questions you are answering. Those are like 30 decisions you took. And the algorithm is calculating everything you're doing, every button you are touching, every behavior you're showing. So the amount of data from game-based assessment is actually huge. This is not just about winning or losing a game. It's about every move that you're doing inside the game and the meaning of this move and the value of this move. So there is a lot of data coming, which sometimes it's much bigger than in traditional assessment. And we are comparing between this data and the data from validated tests to get validation for our test.
Yeah, behind the system is artificial intelligence. And what does it mean? Many times we received this question, how it helps, for example, to the participants during playing the games, and how or what does it mean in the 360 assessment or in the talent test, for example?
Well, artificial intelligence is a big topic. I will just summarize the main idea here. And the main idea is that the game is played against the AI, the artificial intelligence, is a dynamic game, meaning that the computer does not have all the moves from advance, and whatever you're doing, the AI is actually doing the move, reacting to what you're doing, and that brings you to a situation where it's very personal. Okay, it's the environment of learning or assessment becomes a very personal environment. You are getting to a positions that were created by you and by the AI. We know how to change the level of the AI in order to really pick the right level of AI that fits you when you're doing your learning process. And in this way, we are getting a learning environment which is custom or tailored made for you. And this is very important because we want to keep you in the level that you are not bored, that it's too easy. I mean, why do they give it to me? It's too easy, or frustrated. I mean, how they expect me to win? It's too hard, etc. So we all the time need to bring you to this kind of position, and the AI principles in the machine knows exactly to fix themselves according to you, and that's what gives you this personalized learning process. So that's the way we are using the AI inside the games.
And let's go through the future. So can you tell us a bit about your vision at Accelium? What is the future? What are your plans? Or let's see.
It's very nice to talk about plans in a Corona year, because if there is something that we learned is that not to talk too much about future plans when God is doing his own plans. But I would say that it's more about the vision. I would like every teacher or lecturer or coacher, facilitator, everyone who is working with people, everyone which is in a process of sharing his knowledge or teaching or trying to promote skills with another person, to use a game as a tool. That's the vision. And we are trying to create a situation where it will be easy and interesting for every professional like that to just take a game and use a game. And that it will not be difficult, it will not be expensive, it will not be out of reach, because we feel that every teacher, and I look at all professionals, first of all, as teachers. You can be a coacher for managers, you can be a person who does management courses, you can be a facilitator, you can be a lecturer in the university. In the end of the day, you are a teacher. And I think that every teacher needs to have the ability to pick a game and use it to his own needs to demonstrate whatever he wants to demonstrate. So the future will be for us is how easy, how simple it will be for this professional to do so. And that's what we are working on, to try to make it as simple as possible. We are trying to take something that is today a part of the knowledge of chess masters, the whole methodology, the whole idea, and we are trying to take that from the world of chess and just make it engaging and relevant to everybody. and everybody can find, as I said, the master within themselves. Everybody can say to themselves, you know what? I want to improve. I want to improve my skills. I want to be a master. And every teacher can say, I want to use that. I want to give skills to my kids, whatever I teach them. What I teach them language, I teach them subjects, math. I want them to improve skills. So we are trying to make it available to everyone. That's the vision.
Nice vision, let's say. What would you suggest to the future generation? First of all, let's say for the kids.
Well, I think that it's very obvious today that that in order to cope with the world that we are living in, it's all about skills. It's not about knowledge. It's not about this subject or that subject. It's the ability to know yourself. It's the ability to overcome some gaps you have with some techniques and some strategies to improve your thinking skills. And also it's very obvious that it's a lot to do with how to cope with changes and surprises. So I think that what is important for kids today is this exact ability. A lot of kids, it's also us as adults, of course, we are drawn to our comfort zone very easily. We really want our comfort zone. We really want to try to hold to the very comfortable way of thinking, of behaving, of performing. And it's very hard for us to go out. And we've seen in the last year how we had to go out, we had to survive in a completely different environment, which happened so fast. And I think that's the future. So I think that all of us, whether those are kids or teachers that are trying to prepare the kids, and whether those are people who are working in places, adults, we all have to improve ourselves on a cognitive level or emotional level, improve our skill set in order for us to cope with every situation that we might find. And those situations will be more and more challenging in the next few years. If it's like Corona, matters of health, if it's economy, we see now a big revolution with the coins, digital coins. If it's political, if it's climate, if it's the future of the working places, if it's social. So there are so many revolutions, so many things are changing technology-wise, etc. And the whole idea is that if something is changing so much, the one thing, the one key position, key element that will help you to survive is improving yourself, improving your ability to survive those changes and to cope and to adapt to those changes. So for me, that's the most important thing to do, whether it's in education and whether it's in society, in companies, etc.
I think it was a good final word. I think the last year the most important skill was the flexible thinking. That is one of the main topic in Accelium training as well. So I think I hope that we will have many work in it. Thank you very much for the conversation. It was very interesting and useful. I wish you a year rich in health and success, and I hope to talk to you again soon. So thank you very much, and thank you also the attention of our audience. Have a nice day to everybody, and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.